we got to get, the election over with and get into the fall where the flu season hits. And if there's no big, huge uptick and everything, then you're going to start seeing them allowing the cruise ships to start going again. That's where
I didn't even think about the election potentially affecting cruise lines. What do you see for the future of cruising in the next 6 months to a year?
I've been predicting, well, especially here in North America, I think you're going to start to see 1 or 2 ships starting to sail right around Christmas time with very limited capacities and all the protocols in place. And they'll slowly start to ramp up through the springtime. So the closer we hit to the summer, you're going to see things like the, fast tests now that they're coming out that are done in 15 minutes. So things are going to be a lot easier to test people. You're going to start probably seeing the first traces of vaccines coming out probably in January or so. I know Canada's almost ready to release ours. So it's getting very close. But I think it's going to be very, very gradual. There's no way it's just going to start up like this. It's going to be very, very slow and build up. But it's got to happen. And it's got to happen for everything. Like schools are starting now. You got to get the businesses to full capacities. You got to start. You can't expect restaurants to make money on 25% capacity. We cannot bankrupt the world for this. We have to take our precautions and we have to get back to work until we're ready to have vaccines and stuff like that. But I think it's going to be slow, but if they can sell 2,500 people out of Italy and sell out each cruise, then imagine what's waiting here in North America when they start opening up again.
Well, I read a couple of weeks ago, I read an article on, it was that Norwegian has like $1.2 million in future cruise sales lined up for like next year. So, there's a lot of people who are waiting.
I have 300 bookings personally for next year from clients already.
Brand new bookings since the quarantine started?
Some of them I've had
are rollover.
Some of them, I had a lot of cruises canceled this year that we rebooked into next year. So people are ready.
Gotcha.
I've even
what percentage of those 300 are brand new since the quarantine started?
I'd say about a third right now are brand new.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So that makes sense, because the other interesting thing that I found out from that specific article that I was reading about the future cruises is that out of that 1.2 million, only 400,000 of it, or 800,000 of it, 800,000 of that 1.2 million is actually refunded and from previous cruises. So only about 1/4 of it is 1/3 of it is brand new.
Yeah.
So that actually lines up.
It lines up
right with your stats.
Yeah, and it makes sense. I mean, if you think about it, if you've never been on a cruise before and you're just wondering about it, with all the negative publicity in the news and things like that, you're probably not going to jump on board yet. But I tell you, season cruisers will be jumping on board and looking for our chance to. So,
yeah,
I think the big roadblock is we got to get the election over with and get into the fall where the flu season hits and see what happens. And if there's no big, huge uptick and everything, then you're going to start seeing them allowing the cruise ships to start going again. So that's where
I didn't even think about the election potentially affecting cruise lines. So tell me more about that. What do you see for that? Because what do you think is going to happen?
In America, we're like this, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But if you think about it, there's no way any government body like the CDC is going to allow cruising to start the month the election is going on. They're just not going to do that. They do not want to have a big outbreak happen on a cruise ship or something terrible happen. That is the focus of the election. So yeah, there's absolutely no way. There's no way that'll happen.
Right. Okay.
So and even the cruise lines
makes a lot of sense.
So, yeah.
Right. They wouldn't want to be the reason we take eyes away from Trump.
Yeah. Yeah, or vice versa. It's you know, who knows what's going to happen by then, right? There's so many weird things happening. It's
right around the corner.
Yeah.
It's so close.
Yeah. But things can change like this, right? We just had our election here in Canada in the fall, and a month and a half ago, our prime minister was at an all-time high. He has a minority government right now, but he had an all-time high in popularity, and all the talk was he's going to call an early election and get back to being a majority government. And within a month and a half, he's now tied with the opposition party because he's fallen that quickly from one story.
Wow.
So, things can change like this. I mean, if Trump ends up coming out tomorrow and saying, guys, we have a vaccine and we're going to give it to everybody for free. What do you think that'll do for the populace and the changing of people's minds? And things? You never know. It's just weird.
Right.
But I
especially never know with Trump. Right?
So I just wish everybody get along and, stop fighting. That's all we got to do is just stop fighting.
That's your tagline, Don.
Yeah.
Just a shirt. I wish everybody would get along and stop fighting.
No fighting, and don't touch my food.
Yeah, and on the back of the shirt it says, "Don't touch my food."
Yeah.